Summer Captains Workshop. This is meant to assist people who either are captains, are considering being captains, or assistant captains, or are just curious about how things work when managing a team. Because a lot of times things aren't intrinsically obvious. So this is to give you a little bit of a peek under the hood, so to speak, as to how things work from the perspective of a captain. I'd like to thank my two beautiful assistants today, Eternally Blue and Rock Your World, both people with a lot of experience captaining teams in the past, as well as currently. And one thing you'll notice is that Eternally Blue and Rock have the lovely C prefix to their Discord handle, and I have an AC. AC is assistant captain, C is captain. The roles have been purged from last season, so these will be changed once the registration closes in 12 days, which is another reminder. Please make sure that you do have all your registrations squared away before next week, Sunday. With that said, we don't have a very long list of topics to cover tonight, but we will try to cover all of them thoroughly. In addition, this is a workshop or a roundtable discussion. Feel free to chime in at any time if you have questions on a particular point, if you have your own observations you'd like to make. If you are watching this after the fact, you are more than welcome to DM me if you do have any questions or comments after the fact. And so I'll just turn it over to Eternally Blue to get us started with where to get started if you want to be a captain.
Sure. Thanks, Hoku. So you made your decision. You want to play in NGS Season 20. Congratulations. You're well on your way to being grand champions. However, you need 4 other people to come with you. So a team of 5 is a hard thing to acquire. But we have a lot of things here in the NGS Discord to help us. Number 1 is going to be the free agent combine that happens typically a week or 2 before the registration closes. That is typically run by Mickey Giblitz. And actually the free agent combine here is happening July 9th.
Yeah, this Wednesday.
Still able to... Perfect, thank you. Still able to sign up for that. It's a great way to find free agents specifically. There are going to be some captains, some scouts there kind of looking for people as well. But if you're all alone, or if maybe you're just a duo or a trio, whatever, and you're looking for some extra people, that's a great place to start. Also within the NGS Discord, we have a subsection called Build a Team, in which you can post for team recruitment. You can look for free agents that are looking for teams, as well as coaching requests. And then there's an off-roster sub section there if you're looking for people kind of mid-season. When recruiting people, there's a couple of things I just want to touch on. It's really easy to vibe with folks when you're winning, and especially if you are 5-stacking in Storm League. It's going to be really easy. Well, not really easy, but it's going to be easier to win some games. The vibes are usually going to be great when you're winning, and everybody's going to be happy. You think, yeah, let's make a team. Let's go for it. I caution you to do this, mainly because you've never felt defeat before, and you really figure out who you are as a team once you've lost a few matches. When you're doing tryouts with new people, I highly recommend you post for a scrim in the NGS Discord as well. You can look for scrims for teams of your caliber and play them in a more competitive setting, and that's going to get a really good idea of how your team meshes. Winning is great, but losing is better in scrims, in my opinion. I don't think I'm missing anything as far as trying to find people. There are a ton of organizations, if you're a new captain, that you can reach out to. You're not going to inherently know some of these, so I guess you could either ask Hoku, Rock, or myself what some of these are, or you can ask around in the NGS Discord as well. But there's organizations like Magnitude. I know they have a couple of teams. Gambit Gaming is the one that I help run with Krizo. We have 3 teams under our belts, maybe 4 this season. CCS is huge. They normally have 3 or 4 teams. I'm trying to think of other
Bunker
ones off the
Fun
top of
Time
my head,
has
guys.
quite a few games, quite a few too
Bunker
still.
Fun Time. Yep,
Yeah,
they're
gee,
great.
I've never heard of Bunker Fun Time. Tell me more. Our team is fun with Bunker Fun Time. Full disclosure.
Okay. Yeah, and you folks actually do the Fantasy Heroes of the Storm League too, right?
That's Protectors of Ire.
Okay, that's the other one
yeah.
I'm thinking of.
And they do have a couple of teams in their group as well. So that they're another
Yep.
great group of people to reach out to.
So, to my point, there's a lot of organizations out there that are well-established Discords that help you keep things organized, will help you, if you have questions throughout the season, they can be scrim partners. A lot of communities out there really trying to keep this game alive and really providing positive experiences for new captains and people who just kind of want to hang out and still hang on to this game we love to play. So, recommend joining those as much as possible. I know for mine there isn't, and I don't think anybody really have any sort of strict rule set. I don't think there's anything you have to sign. Some teams will have you like sign charters and stuff like that. I've never been a part of that, but that is out there. And I'll talk a little bit about the team structure as well. Obviously, there's a captain. This is going to be the person in charge of registering the team, which Rock's going to go through here momentarily. But also assistant captains are really important. You kind of want to have your right hand person to help you schedule things, help you find free agents, help you find subs, scrims, something like that. We all take vacation, especially when it's summertime here. So having an additional person that others can reach out to, super important, so that your team just doesn't go MIA. And I think I've covered everything I want. If there's no questions, I'll throw it over to Rock here.
Awesome. Thanks.
Actually, I'll hop in between and kind.
Go for it.
Oh, fine.
Yeah, no, because I was going to go over the website a bit and the Discord, because once you have a team in place, the next thing you do have to do is to register everything with the NGS site and Discord, or else you can set up all the scripts you like, but you won't actually be invited to play any real games. Before I jump ahead, though, were there any questions for Eternally Blue? Silence is golden. Okay, so I'm going to hop in. I'm actually going to do a little bit of screen sharing here. Let's see. I don't know. Actually, I'm going to hold off on that for. I'll go ahead and share screen. But one thing to note is in Discord itself, you won't be able to see it just yet because I'm looking at the NGS website. But there is a channel. Well, there's a section called Season. It will be Season 20 once it goes live. And there will be a specific channel in there for captains. This is where the NGS bots will communicate with captains, warning them that they haven't reported games, they haven't scheduled games, there's been roster ads, things like that. So that's a channel that you will definitely want to not mute if you are a team captain. And in that channel at the very top, there are some pinned messages. I do recommend going to the pinned messages because one of them will have a couple of video links. One is for the captain orientation, which goes over a lot of what I'm going to show you right now. And then there is a whole section on uploading ranks, because that is something else that you are going to have to do before you can register your team. There's some older videos on there too, which you can still look at. They're not wrong necessarily, but they have changed a little bit. But I do strongly recommend the captain orientation because it will go through a lot of what I'm going to show you now. So here is the NGS website, nexusgamingseries.org. This is where you will have to go to register both yourself and your team. One thing to note, right now I'm logged on as a Smurf, not as my real team, just so I can show you some tools without actually breaking my real team, which would probably upset quite a number of them. But you will log in using Battle.net. So if I were to log out of here, as long as I'm logged into Battle.net, there will be a login button. When I click that, I will instantly log in. I'm not logging out right now because I'm going to log in on my main account a little bit to show you an existing team. But some things that you'll find in here, if you're currently a member of a team, you would see some tools there, like finding a team. If you're a player, you can find other free agents. If you're still looking for people, there is a tool here. I don't find it as reliable as the Discord or the Free Agent Combine, but it is another tool that's available. So if I go to my profile, the one thing that you will have to do before anything else is in your own personal profile. Once you've logged in, you'll click Edit. And you do have to give it a Discord tag. So that will be your actual username in Discord. It may be different from your Battle.net ID. That's perfectly fine. It does not have to be the same. Discord used to use the word hashtag a bunch of numbers, and they changed it several years ago. So if you registered with the NGS website, 5 years ago, you may have to go update your Discord tag to be whatever your new one is. So for example, I could put in, whoops, I can't spell my Discord tag there. The media is optional. If you want to put in a Twitch link, I guess they call that X now, and then a YouTube link, you can, but you don't have to. And you certainly don't have to do any of the rest of the stuff, except for you will have to verify your Storm League rankings before you can go in and do that. And I'll leave that to Rock to show. But do make sure that you do have a Discord tag associated with your account. Since this is just a Smurf that I don't want to use for anything, I'm not going to bother with that at the moment. So once you have yourself set up correctly, the next thing you'll do is go back up to your username in the upper right corner to team and create team. So it's telling me I don't have a Discord tag, ruh-roh. And then it's also giving me warnings that we have to give it a team name and a team ticker. So a team name can be whatever you like, provided it is somewhat PG-13, because the casters will have to say it live on air, and some casters are not comfortable using, fully adult language online. It can affect their monetization and other things. So we do ask you to keep it, somewhat family friendly. You can certainly be a little creative. We've had some fun team names in the past. Puns are definitely appreciated. And then a team ticker. A team ticker is a short, usually like 3 or 4 character abbreviation for your team. So when they are showing things like in scoreboards and things like that, it would show up. So for example, I might want to call my team Happy Fun Time Team. And the team ticker could be HFTT. Now, if another team is already using that, and I can do it lowercase, what have you, it will warn me that that ticker is not available and I'll have to do something else. So for a large organization like CCS, you'll notice that most of them have a ticker that is CCS followed by a number. That just indicates the order in which the team was added to the org. So CCS1 would be Counterpick Stupid, all the way up through, I think they're up to CCS11, which is Crimson Cyber Squad now. So you can use numbers, you can use letters in the ticker. You can use symbols in the team name. For example, if you're using letters with accent marks, you can do that. But again, try to not make it too hard, because then when you have casters or analysts writing up about your team, they may have a hard time doing that. So let's go ahead and do ticker. If you toggle on looking for more, that will register your team on the NGS website, not the Discord, as you're looking for teammates, so people can apply to you. You can set your competition level, medium, and then if you want to describe your play history or style, rush, mid, kind of a thing. What roles you're looking for, what days and times you practice, and what time zone you are in. I do recommend being very careful with time zones, because we do have people from all across the country, from a few other countries, including Canada and several South American countries. So don't assume people know what 7 o'clock means. Make it very explicit, both when you're scheduling as well as when you're recruiting. And when you register, please let them know that you are a West Coast team. So I'm going to go ahead and stop streaming for 1 sec. Are there any questions so far? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and log back over to my main account. I'm just hiding my screen so you don't see my super secret passwords. Okay, I'll go ahead and share my screen again now that I have swapped over. There we go. So I'm going to log in. I'm going to log in with Battle.net, and because I'm already logged into Battle.net as me, there I am, and there's my team and all that fun stuff. So once you've created a team, the next step is to go ahead and add people to your team. So what you'll do is you'll go to your team overview. We'll talk about the registration tab later. And the squad team will tell you who's currently on your team. Now you'll notice that there's this lovely red button here called Remove from Team. Only captains have that ability. If you're an assistant captain, you can't start a mutiny and kick people off and take over the team. So just be aware that there are just 3 things that a captain can do on the website that an assistant captain cannot. Assistant captains can schedule matches, they can report matches, they can invite people to the team, they can upload images for teammates. The only thing they cannot do is kick people from the team, and they can't register. So we're already registered, oopsie. So Rock will go over that bit. But if I come into here and hit edit on the overview page, I can add assistant captains, and assistant captains can do that as well. And then there's also a manage drop down here where I can change the captain. This is something that assistant captains cannot do. So the 3 things a captain can do that assistant captains cannot do are change who the captain is, register the team, and kick people. Everything else you see tonight, everybody else can do. Now, our team is currently full, so we've hit the max roster size. I believe Eternally Blue mentioned this, but there is a roster cap of 9 people. So once you hit 9, you can't add any more. You can have off-roster subs, which Rock will cover in just a little bit. But one other thing to note is if you are not at the roster cap, this section here, it's a little confusing. It's not intuitive. Not these buttons up here and not managed, but in this section here, there will be 2 lines which you can use to add people to your team if you're not at the cap. One will be to add someone who is new to NGS. So they may not have registered on the site. They may not have a history and all that. The second one, which will be on this line, will be to add someone who is already a part of NGS and has some experience and has been on a team. So they don't need an invite to the website, to the Discord, and all that. There will be fields in these 2 lines here, the new players and the existing players, where you just type in their battle tag. And then you'll send an invite. It'll show up in their message center.
I can show it off
And
when we
then-
get there.
Yep, and then you can accept or decline. Anyway, so a couple of other things while we're talking about team information is this is also where you'll be scheduling matches. Obviously, there's no match lists to be scheduled yet. There'll be a big green button off to the right once these start to populate with divisions. And you just click on the button, pick a date and time, and send it off. But Rock will get into the details of how to actually coordinate with another captain to do that. So when you're first creating a team, the only tabs you need to worry about are Overview, which is where the Edit button is to get into this fancy screen where you can add people and change things. This is also where you can, change the logo if you have social media accounts for the team as opposed to your individual things. What you're looking for, there's your competitive information. Yes, we have a very odd play history style. I did not write that, don't blame me. So on and so forth. So a couple other things to note here is when it comes time to actually report results, you will not be doing this from the team page. This will be from either, if you're a captain or assistant captain, you'll go to your name, team, result reporting. Now, obviously, we're between seasons, so there's nothing to report at the moment. But do be aware, again, that's a little unintuitive that it's here and not on the team page. Other things that will be helpful is you will be able to go to your divisions for a lot of information here. But one more thing I should note, the drop-down menu that says rules. Community rules apply to you and all of your teammates at all times. I strongly recommend giving these at least a quick once-over before you create a team. Before you start recruiting people, before you register on the website, do read the rules. They're not particularly hard to follow. Most of them are pretty standard. You don't need to worry about the storm rules. That doesn't apply to us. If you are interested in being a caster, you can read the caster bylaws, and Eternally Blue can fill you in on the joys of casting. But it's basically all the rules regarding team names and tickers and rosters and changes and all that kind of fun stuff. So the only other thing I'm going to cover before I turn it over to Rock is you have a bunch of people who want to help you. And this is the NGS moderating team, as well as the NGS committees. So right now, we have division and community moderators, but they have not been assigned specific divisions yet for obvious reasons, because we don't have the division set. When a season starts, your first point of contact within the NGS hierarchy is your division moderator. The captain's list, which will be posted on the NGS website, as well as the Discord. So once this divisions populates, see if it shows it for past seasons. I'm not sure if it does or not. Division C, sure, why not? Yeah, so you can see here, it tells you who your division moderator is on the website. So if you go to your division once those goes live, find out who your moderator is. You can DM them if you want to keep it private. The moderators do have to sign a contract with the NGS. So they are sworn to secrecy. If a moderator misbehaves, there is a head moderator. That is Aura, A-U-R-A. If you're having a problem with your moderator, or your moderator isn't responding, maybe they're on vacation, or maybe this is urgent and it's 2 in the morning in their time zone, you're free to contact the head mod. So if you have a problem with a moderator that you don't want to discuss with your moderator or what have you. But division moderators and the head moderator, if none of the above are available, you can contact the other division moderators. There's no rule saying you have to leave them alone. Just realize that they may refer you to one of those other 2 resources first. Although if it's super urgent, like a registration issue or something like that, do reach out to any of the moderators. In addition, there is the NGS board. The NGS board is 7, 9, I think it's, anyway, it's a bunch of us who are there to ensure that everything runs absolutely perfectly, which never happens. But the board members are always open to any feedback, any constructive criticism, non-constructive criticism. Feel free to contact the board. Myself, Weenus, Coffin, Raka, Lazy Hydra, Delta Sniper, the Line Bus. I'm sure I'm forgetting people. Aura is the board moderator. She doesn't actually, she's not officially on a board member herself, but she is head moderator. If you have issues with casting, contact Eternally Blue or Raka. They can help you with that. But the NGS staff is here to help. We are all volunteers. None of us get paid. Not even the board members. Sadness. But we are here to help, and we do want to help you. So anything we can do to make your season easier, please don't hesitate to DM any of us. And with all that said, now that you've got thoroughly bored with this, I'm going to turn it over to Rock.
All right. So you can join my stream if you want to see what I'm sharing. I'm just sharing my right screen. But as Hoku mentioned, there's a lot of cool features to A, help your team succeed, as well as B, finish up some of that registration stuff. So I'm a slacker and did not register my team yet. So when you go to look at your team, this is what you will see as an individual player, saying that, hey, I need to upload these images. And so to do that is very easy. Yeah, it is. And so that's it. All you have to do is click image upload, and it will tell you to take a snip of your in-game information. And so very easily I can come in, go to my profile, and get my own in-game information for this past season, and then I would make sure that I have Storm League selected, and I would snip that. So that's more or less that. The most important thing about registration, though, as Hoki mentioned, is making sure that you actually are signed up as your team. So I can now select into my team, and you come to the registration form, and you have a questionnaire. The questionnaire will tell you what do you want about your team and how do you play, specifically competitive. Did you play an NGS? All of your information that you need. One of the ones that is most pertinent and must be filled out is this is speaking to your scheduling and time zones. So this one here, it will tell you that if you like to play 5 to 8 p.m. Pacific, select this one. If you like 7 to 10 Pacific, click this one. We need more of these. So if you play this, please select it. If you don't play this, don't select it. because it's really hard to schedule with teams that are effectively East Coast when you're West Coast, and then it just becomes really hard. Once you've gotten everything completed, including all of your heroes, or all of your heroes, all of your teammates have their images loaded, all of these X's will turn into green check marks, and then you can actually click the registration button. If you click it now, it won't work. So that's the registration part that we didn't get to talk about or show. As far as team stuff goes, one of the things that people have been talking about is more or less establishing good expectations. It's very easy. Like, I've been on Roll1 Esports for, my goodness, at least 14 seasons now, it feels like. We've had more or less the same 12 players rotate in and rotate out. Our particular group is probably unique, and we are effectively friends. So it's like we may not have all gotten to see each other yet in real life, but we share life and do that type of stuff, and none of that would have happened without Heroes of the Storm or the community that's there. And so I can share, yes, there are really cool stories that exist because of NGS and Heroes of the Storm. I can also tell you that I've helped coach 3 or 4 different teams where teams have exploded because they desperately need to fill that last spot, and they didn't more or less set the expectations up front on what they wanted to get in a season. And so when I say set the expectations, I'm not saying that everybody has to be try hard and practice 6 times a week and, more or less this is the only game you play. This is your main game. Maybe that's you. Maybe you're in the heroic hardcore div. I don't know, Blue. Like, do you guys scrim 6 times a week at 40 hours yet, or is that too hard? But so it's like, it's like whatever you want to do, just make sure that that's known. And one of the things that I do, I'm super organized. You don't have to do this. I make a survey. I actually go through and talk about, hey, what role do you want to play, team? What times are the best for you to play? When could you start? When is the last game that you want to play? And then asking the very blunt question, do you want to play in NGS, or do you just like playing games with us? So it's really funny that you have to sometimes put things out very bluntly, but if it's not clearly understood, you don't want to join into a season and effectively get stuck with, oh, I thought we were playing as this squad of 5, and now I'm having to find last-minute subs to either add to my team or finding subs that don't exist on my team, but I just need placeholders for a week or 2 or a match or 2. So the first thing I will show is one of the things that Hoku mentioned, which is adding players to your team. So once you come into here, if I need to add a sub to my team, which I do, I can come into the existing user and I can type in their battle tag and find an existing user. So I'm actually adding my friend Silver Spy to my team. Looks like he has not left his team, so I cannot add him. Or I just can't spell. Silver... Nope, whatever. He must not be on there yet. So, but you can add in their battle tag and be able to invite people onto the website. Or if they don't have a website and they've never been on the website, you can add them here using their email address. And you just type in their email and it'll send them a cool automated email of, hey, please join. So that's what that is. If you need to sub on your team, so if you look at your squad, you can only play 5 players every match, right? So right now I have 6 players on my team. I have 8 players on my team. But I have that spot for 1 more, and so I can add 1 more player to my team. But if you can't add another player or they're not available and it's a last-minute deal, as long as you let a division moderator and hopefully your opponent as well know a day in advance, you can use what they call as off-roster subs. And so in NGS, there is a sometimes maintained list of off-roster subs. But more or less, they have a list of people that have filled out and done different locations. And so what we've started to do is post, hey, I'm happy to play. This is my, role. This is what I do. This is my division. And I would like to be a off-roster sub. And so assuming that they've posted and completed all the things needed to be an off-roster sub, the number 1 thing that an off-roster sub has to do is be registered on the website and be in NGS's Discord. So if those 2 things are completed, you ask your division moderator, hey, I'm submitting for an off-roster sub. Can, Hoku come play for us this week? And they go and they look, hey, Hoku's registered. She's good to go. Yes, she can join you on the sub this week. I will notify the enemy team. And then the enemy team gets a notification, hey, they're using an off-roster sub. This is who it is. and it's like we'll let the game proceed. If you don't get things approved in a timely manner and you just show up with an approved sub, it can be effectively result in the game being a forfeit. And obviously, I'm not we're not trying to win brownie points like it's an internet game. We're trying to do stuff, but they don't want people showing up with ringers and people that are off roster and going to create a bunch of havoc just because you need to fill a slot. So you had a comment there?
Yeah. There are caps for both adding people to your roster and off roster subs. They have not been set yet because obviously we're still building the season and the divisions. But once placements are done, they will post what the roster caps are for your division. So that's one other thing you'll have to check to make sure that in the past 3 seasons, that person has never been placed higher in Storm League than the cap.
So what I'm currently showing, sorry, I was muted there. What I'm currently showing is what the roster cap was for last division, and so effectively it gives you your Storm League rank and what you can potentially be added to as a full-time roster sub or as an off-roster sub, what you can be added to your team to try and keep the division somewhat balanced in their play. So, yeah, so that covers the sub and doing that stuff. So when I talk about at the beginning, I said trying to make sure that you're a successful team and you have clear expectations and goals. What I mean by that is you really want to ensure that everyone's going to have a good time. And you can't make sure everybody's happy. It's not possible. Even in today's world, you can't make everybody happy. But you want to make sure as the captain, like this is the bare minimum of how often we're going to be playing. You guys are more than welcome to play more than outside of that, 2 hours every 2 days or every week or whatever. So it's like I will try my best to schedule, effectively what dates you are going to be able to play, right? Like I understand people have flexible schedules and things, but being able to find a way to notify and contact your team of like this is potentially the days that we want to schedule. Similar to what Hoku mentioned, most teams play about 2, maybe 3 times a week. And on those days, that's when they're like, hey, you're always good here. I go back to my form. You told me you guys were good on Thursdays and Mondays. So, okay, I'm going to try and schedule all of our matches to be Mondays and Thursdays. And so when scheduling happens, you effectively get given on the schedule tab, like, can I look at past seasons? Yeah, I can do it real quick. So in past divisions, you can come into the schedule and you'll be given effectively all of your matches. Like, oh, here, for week 3, like I'm playing Clouded Minds. So what I would do for every single match in my division is I would click on their player and find their captain. If their captain is not in the NGS Discord, it's a problem. They have to be there. But sometimes their Discord information doesn't match up. But I find their captain and I send them a DM. And every single one, all I do is message them directly, usually something funny. Sometimes it's a dad joke. Speaking of dad jokes, I got a dad joke for you right here. It says, what do you call a dog that's underwater? It's a subwoofer. You're welcome. But yeah, so as so I'd say, but like I'll usually make a joke about hurting cats or something. But the idea is it's like, hey, I'm reaching out to you. The season just started, and I see that we're playing in week 3, right? And so like some teams can't schedule out 3 weeks in advance, but being able to know, hey, I'm playing you in week 3. Can we talk about when do you guys normally play? Because we like Monday, Thursdays. So it's like, and they might write back right away. Monday, Thursdays work great. So it's like, as long as it's after 8 p.m., schedule it. We're good to go. I just saw I had a question in the Twitch chat. It says, sometimes I see a player ranked higher than division's cap. Is that normal? I might toss that one over to Hoku, but in my experience, usually the balancing is done by the committee. I'm trying to remember what their fancy title is. Placement committee, that's right. And they do a really good job. I want to say there's only been maybe at worst 1 or 2 teams that are unfortunately misplaced. And sometimes it's internal problems where we made a mistake, we as an NGS, and other times the team asked to punch up and they did not do so well. And but they tend to be very, very well balanced. And so that one player, like, we try our best to not do masters and above on anything that's below B, just because the level of skill knowledge and ability to play can carry and ruin a league at points. But I've had a relatively good time, and so if I see someone is placed higher than the division cap, I would assume that if they're placed higher, they're being balanced within the division itself. And as much as one player is really strong, one player sometimes cannot carry it by themselves. Do you have any other thoughts on that, Hoku?
Yeah, I can talk to that a little bit. We do try to keep the world of placements a little quiet, simply because they have enough to do without 18 people trying to, finagle, if you will. So what happens is once a team registers, you'll notice that you have to have your season ranks posted when you register, that there is no options for that. And Rock, if you go back to your team page, you can see that the ranks verified and all that kind of fun stuff. So what they do is they look at the top 4 people on your roster. Placements doesn't know who's a sub and who's a starter. Placements doesn't know if a sub is going to stay a sub all season or if a starter is going to stay a starter all season. So what they do is they take the top 4 because that is the fairest way to do it. And they say, okay, so their top 4 is Plat 3, Gold 4, Gold 4, Gold 5, Bronze 2. So if we take those and kind of balance it out, the average is roughly gold, and we can probably safely put them in, say, Division C, based on the roster caps for the previous season. So that's how they tend to do it. Now, they might have 3 other bronze players on their roster who will all happen to be starters. But placements has to be fair by taking the best case scenario. So if you say things like, oh, we're only going to play off rolls, or we're only going to play beam comps, or we're going to play bingo, too bad, so sad, you're going to be placed by your ranks. That's all we can see, and that's all we can guarantee the other teams in your division. Because if you're playing bingo, and there is a team that does this, and it's actually kind of fun. I don't know if they still do it, but I know they did for quite some time. If you're only going to play bingo and you're losing every match, what's to stop you from stopping playing bingo and play like a group of Diamond Masters? So that's what placements looks at. The top 4 people on your team, their highest ranks in the past 3 seasons, and that's why we do require 3 seasons. If someone is unranked, if they have a long NGS history, that comes into play. So if you're a Grandmaster player and you just don't play Storm League anymore because the Grandmaster queues are 40 minutes long, that's not going to be held against you. We all know that you are Grandmaster skill level. You are going in Heroic Division. Sometimes we have the opposite, where someone is just a complete unknown. Hey, I've never played this before. I've never played Storm League before. I want to join NGS. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. Everybody is welcome in NGS. So what we may do is look at Hero's profile to get some idea of, what Hero's profile thinks your rank is. We might look at some of your competitive history or match history to see what types of people you've been playing against. There's a lot of tools that can be used to kind of determine where those types of people should fall on it. One thing I do want to warn you ahead of time, if you are a captain, people have to register on their main account. Their main account is defined as the one with the most games played. So we do try to weed out smurfing. I'm not going to discuss how we do that, but we do try to look for that. So please, please, please make sure you're telling your recruits, hey, this is your main account, right? Okay, let's keep it above board, please. And there are no rank restrictions prior to the season start. So if your best buddy is Bronze 5, but they're one of those, oh, I'm hard stuck Bronze 5, I'm actually a really good, Medivh main, but Medivh mains don't make it out of Bronze 5, yeah, put them on the team. Even if the rest of you are plat. There's nothing wrong with that, because remember, as long as 4 people are plat, your bronze friend is not going to drag you down into a lower division. By the same token, to be aware that if your buddy is a Grandmaster and you add them to your all bronze team, that is going to affect your placement. You are not going to be in Divi with a Grandmaster on your team. So that was kind of the long answer to your Twitch question. Hopefully that answered it.
Sorry, I'll keep watching for more messages. Another thing that popped up is Raka chimed in and talked about how rank is weighed much less heavier than prior performance. So obviously, if you have played many, many seasons and you know, effectively dominate every season, even though you're showing as bronze, we're not going to put you in E if you clearly have dominated E every season. Another thing it talked about is the roster cap is not based on the highest rank for that division, but is more of a rough idea of the average for the players in that division. We don't obviously want teams bringing in 3 new players that are all at their peak skill for that new division and throwing the whole thing out and about. So thank you for the chime in, Raka. No, that's good. So anything else on divisions, roster caps before I continue through my laundry list of random crap that I have that I would love to share with you guys? All right. So like I said, for scheduling, I legitimately go through and one of the things that I try and do and am proud of is I will actually DM message every single captain from the captain's list and try to get the entire season scheduled within the first 3 weeks, including our flex matches. And the main reason that I do that is I'm trying to ensure that both teams get their time respected. And it sounds silly. You're like, we're all here to play video games. Like, what do you mean respect time? And, you know, as much as I like to play and I want to be competitive and I want to have fun, I also understand that this is a video game and real life comes first. And so I do my best to give the enemy team as much time as possible to schedule the match ahead of time. So that way, if there is an off week, is there something that does pop up, it's only a one-off instead of the craziness that occurs within the normal cycle of life to where, oh crap, I had scheduled you for Monday and I now have to sub. I go to my subs list of friends and my sub rest can't do it. I'm looking at an off roster sub. We can't do it. If you have to reschedule your match, contact a division moderator, contact the opposing captain. Don't let it be last second and just do your best to people understand. People are willing to work with you and make sure that, hey, we want to all play the game. We all want to have fun. As much as it's cool to potentially be on the scoreboard, right? This past season, you know, it's like it was nice being able to look at the division and be like, oh, look, you know, Roll One managed to place first in B West this season. Woo, us! So it's like, as cool as that is, like I would rather play a game. I'd rather play and have a riveting match than just be given free points because, you know, wasn't willing to budge. But on the same hand, as the captain, you need to respect people's time. And so don't feel like you're a jerk if effectively you can't reschedule. As a family man, I cannot play Saturdays and Sundays. Like, that's time for my kids and my family. And so I'm more than happy to schedule and get ahead of time and get things done. But if you come in Thursday when our game is Thursday and tell me the only day I'm available to now play is Saturday at peak, you know, kid time, I'm going to have to tell you no and go talk to a division moderator and see if we can reschedule because I'm not going to interrupt real life for our video game. And so that's part of what I talk about as well when you need to make sure you have right expectations for your captains and your players. Because some players are like, no problem. You tell me to be there, I'll be there. And I'm grinding, you know, every single day. And I'm trying to get to Masters this season. And you're like, that's cool. I'm happy to sign up for the 2 days a week that I promised. And I will do some homework and some scouting in between games. So speaking of scouting, that's one of the things I love to do the most about HOTS is actually creating team comps, drafting, and trying to plan the strategy behind it. And so one of the really cool tools that exists inside of NGS, you can click on it right here on any team, is this little icon that's Heroes Profile. So when you click on Heroes Profile, it will pull up your team or any team that is in your division and show what they have played, what they have done, and what exactly their matches have been so far. And so you might be able to look at this and see something that immediately stands out as a something to ban or something to play around. You can scroll down and see who their highest win rate heroes are most played. This Heroes Profile is an amazing tool. If you don't contribute to Heroes Profile and Zamil, I 100% recommend it. He does an amazing job, him and his team, and I absolutely love all that they do for the Heroes community. But you can come through and see, oh, look at this. They play all this Thrall, and they have an 80% win rate on Thrall. Maybe we need to ban that. right? Like, you don't have to do tons of homework. You don't need to be scouting for days. At a bare minimum, you can prepare for your match by going to Heroes Profile, checking out what they've played. You can come down and see what they're banning. Maybe there's certain things they really don't like playing into. You can also see what people are banning into them. And maybe you can, agree. People really don't like Winnie Stukov. I don't know what to tell you. I think you should let it through more often. And then people don't like Anubarak. He's kind of annoying. So as you go through, you can also see what maps they like to play. And you can see what maps they're banning. And so with all that information, you can hopefully, even though maybe as a captain, you've not played a lot or you've not played in the divisions before, this can give you a baseline on how to try and help set up your team for success. And then you can also see every single game is required to be uploaded. Hoku talked earlier about reporting results. So when you record your results, they require you to put in the heroes and the players. And so when you put them in, you will get specifically each individual player that played in the match, the map, and all the details that go with it. And so it's a wonderful tool. Feel free to use that for your scouting and for getting prepared for game day. And so speaking of game day, many teams have rituals and things they like to do. I tell dad jokes, but most of the time people want to also kind of sync on what the goal is. Is it okay to show up to practice to the match 2 minutes before it starts, running on saying, "Oh my gosh, I just got home and I have not warmed up," and go? And if that's okay, that's fine. But some teams know that it's like, I need like a game or two to warm up and like get my brain disassociated from work. And so if they need that time in that space, make sure to be like, hey guys, we're all going to be on like 30 minutes before the match so we can get a game in and we can talk our game plan, talk our strategy. Some people like to build spreadsheets and go over all of their heroes and all their choices and what they're going to play on their different compositions. I'm not going to make this go on for several hours on different coaching things that I can help you with, but I would just say big picture, the more prepared you are for a match, the better it will go, because your teammates will know what to do, your team will all be on the same page for what your win condition is, and there won't be, hopefully, any surprises on your side. The enemy will always bring surprises, but hopefully you won't surprise your own team and throw in a random murky pick when you asked for a Jaina. They're not the same, Hoku. So yeah, I think there's a lot that can be done, and we here at NGS, as well as just the community, are willing to help. And I think specifically as you build a team, as you get your stuff together, feel free to establish roles for what you want your teammates to do and spread out the responsibilities. If maybe what I just told you, you absolutely hate typing and scheduling and talking to people, see if there's someone on your team that's one of those like super outgoing, energetic people that loves talking, and just say, hey, can you schedule? And all you have to do is like, this is the name, this is the dates, these are the times. Can you copy paste that and send it to them and be our mouthpiece for the team? And some people are willing to do that. They love being engaged and being able to support and do stuff. I don't know if you've ever been a part of, well, most people have had to do at least a high school or a team project where someone on the team does absolutely nothing. And then you get there to the day of the final presentation and they pretty much present nothing. And you're like, what the heck? And the person honestly says, well, you didn't tell me to do anything. I just was along for the ride. And if you would have just given them more to do, they would have been happy to do it. There's also the other side of the person that you tell them, here's all the things I want you to do, and shows up and doesn't do anything, and then tanks the project, and then the teachers have to be kind and kind of grade on a curve so that way the person that tanked it doesn't ruin your entire project. So teams are teams, people are people, but most of all, as you start out as your journey in captainship, I hope that you have fun. I hope that you're able to put together a team that is willing to play together and come up with some fun, interesting strategies. You don't have to play the meta to be a fun hero or to have a good time. One of my favorite best friends in the game loves playing Nova, and every single person, if you meet them in Quick Match or Storm League, is going to be pissed off that you picked Nova. Well, in the season that he played Nova, he had a 80% win rate and was banned 66% of the time. And so if you're good, you're good. So have fun with it. Kind of in conclusion, one of the things that I would note again is to make sure you set up your team for success. One thing that I do when I'm trying to schedule all the matches ahead of time is I also schedule with my own team. So besides scheduling with others, I actually have a scheduling channel So what I will do is go into every single date that we are going to potentially be playing and assign emotes to every single person. And so this is the most archaic way to do it. You most definitely can use a Google Calendar and all the other stuff, but I literally type out every single week, this is the time, this is the date. Can you make it? And everyone assigns their emote, and if you can't make it, you put an X. And then, before the match starts, I get to come in as the captain and look and say, oh, this week we are short games for Thursday. So I start pinging my subs at sub. Hey, can anyone play Thursday? It's like sometimes I feel like I micromanage people because I look at these stupid little things. But in the same way, it's like, if I don't know, I don't know. And so all I can say is be willing to be communicative, be willing to be flexible, and don't put up with toxicity and jerks. You're the captain. Feel free to, reach out to other teams, reach out to other people, get other opinions. Don't rumor mill, rumor monger, blackmail, blah, blah, blah. But feel free to ask, hey, like, I asked him to help me soak more, and he threw his microphone across the room and slammed the desk and disconnected from the game. Is that normal? And being able to have someone say, no, that's someone who has some emotional instability, and maybe you can't play with that. And if you can't play with that, communicate, communicate, communicate. Yeah, I think that's probably everything that was on my list. Is there anything that you guys, Hoku, or that I missed that you would want more feedback on? Oh, I didn't show Stats of the Storm. This is way too long already. Okay, there's another cool tool called Stats of the Storm. And what this one does is you can load all of your individualized replays, and it will tell you your overall team's win rate, how you're doing on certain heroes, on certain maps, and can give a lot more information to help your team analyze and understand what's happening. This is a little bit different than Heroes Profile because Heroes Profile only looks at Storm League, Quick Match, and other stuff. It doesn't look at custom replays unless you give it the ability to do so, and even then it's not uploading them and analyzing them. So you want to make sure that if you want to review your customs and your team and your group, you can make a specific subset of that to be able to track that. And so, I have one for each season for each of our different teams to be able to look at that. So if you need help with this tool, feel free to message me, but it's one of the tools that is provided. I don't know if the GitHub and stuff is still posted in the NGS website or on the Discord, but if you have questions about that, I'll be happy to show you how to use Stats of the Storm. So with that, I talked way too much. Anyone else? Questions, follow-ups, things? Quickly scanning Discord chat or Twitch chat. Looks good. Yeah, anyone else out there?
Question.
Yes, sir.
So Heroes Profile has changed since I've used it over the past several years. And it used to have a functionality where I could look at a player, check their match history, and then check different party sizes to be able to quickly filter out, oh, these are the games that they've played with their team in Storm League or Quick Match or whatever. Is there a tool that exists functionality-wise similar? Like, can I use Stats of the Storm to do that?
So Stats of the Storm will take any uploaded replay. So NGS obviously has a repository of every single replay. Usually, I don't know if they still do it monthly, but I want to say they actually have a repository for everything and you can export them all. So if you really, really, really wanted to know every single match, you could go in and download the replay for every individual team. You know what I mean? Like you could come into, the team you're playing against and you could see what they're doing. Gosh, yeah, you can see, wow, this is so slow today. So like in between each player, you can come in and view what they've picked and what they've played in NGS every single map, right? So you can find that detail. The one thing that did get broken, and it's on purpose, from what I understand, from what Zimmel was telling me, you used to be able to click like right here on their name, and it would take you straight to their registered Heroes profile. And so that got broken on purpose a while back. So whether it be to prevent doxing or protection or whatever. So what I do is I usually will just copy paste and search in the search bar to find them. And if it doesn't result or doesn't show right, you can go directly on the NGS website, and every single player has to be registered with Heroes Profile. So you can come in and click the general heroes profile for them, and that one will directly take you to what they registered with. So you'd at a minimum have what their registered player name is. And then what you mentioned about being able to filter for party size, I don't think you can filter anymore, but you can see kind of what's here for the 5-stack and all that stuff. But what you can do is when you're inside each individual match, where's the Storm League? So if you're inside a Storm League match, you can see if they're partied or not, right? Like you can see the little symbols for like, oh, these people were partied together. So this was an individual, a party of 2, and a party of 2 versus a 5-stack, right? So you can see that kind of stuff. So you can look and see if like the player you're scouting, oh, he played in a party with these 5. And then you can look up those individual names being like, oh, I don't recognize that Silver Spy guy. And, you click in to view Silver Spy's profile and you see, oh, this person's been subbing for them and is, new to the team. So that's why he didn't show up on any of the matches yet. Okay. And you can scout him or her that way, right? So I think that's what you meant. There used to be, like you said, a cool like win rate by 4 or 5-stack. Like you can see that per player, but they don't have that for the team. All the team related things will be tied back to their main profile, where you can click on the socials and show any of the information for here. Peldor, send me a DM so I can send you the Stats of the Storm GitHub repository after this. But yeah, so you can come in this way and see the different heroes, different players, and what's there. So yeah, you can do both. Does that help, Zoth, or was that a different thing you wanted to see?
No, you answered my question. It sounds possible. It's just too many steps to be practical.
Unfortunately, yes. I think the best way to scout, what I do for most teams, is I pretty much look at 3 lines. I look at what have you played in NGS, right? So if a brand new season, right? So you're like, okay, I want to scout Rock. It's a brand new season. We're week 1. Like, what does he like to play? So I'll look at what they played last season, and I look and see like, holy crap, he played ETC 10 times. He had a 40% win rate on it. Maybe he's not so good on it. Like, we can let him play that. Please let Rock play ETC. It's like you can look at other stuff. You can say, oh, holy crap, he's got an 80% win rate on Variant. He only played it 5 times. He has a 100% win rate on Diablo. They played it 4 times. And so you can look at like, what did they do? And then say, okay, this is what he's doing in the team. What is he doing as an individual? Is he, secretly practicing a hero? Is he secretly doing something? And so you can come in and look at, him as an individual, search their profile. And then I look at what is their top played ever. Because if it's your favorite, you know how to play it. Even if you're rusty, you know how to play it. And so I look here and I see, oh, his top 3 favorites are Anub, ETC, and Joe. So, okay, I'm not going to make him uncomfortable by banning out Anubarak. He has other heroes. And then I can look and see, oh, what has he played recently? And so I can come in and look at the most recent season. And I look and see what he's played a lot of Anubarak, Garrosh, and Diablo. Right? It's like, oh, Garrosh, that's new. I didn't see lots of Garrosh on Heroes Profile from his main account. Right? Like, he didn't play many Garrosh in this past season. He played it 4 times and had a 50% win rate. Maybe that's new. Maybe they're practicing Garrosh. So there's something that can be said there or done there too. So yeah, I think that's part of what you can kind of result and look back and forth between. So I look at NGS, your favorite, and what have you played recently. And between those, usually I have an idea of what they're doing or what they're playing. It may not be perfect. People obviously play on alternate accounts as well to get games and do stuff, especially once you get higher ranked. People tend to run into queues that don't work, and so they play on alternate accounts just to get games. But yeah, that's one way to do it. And then for your own self-tracking, Stats of the Storm is definitely my favorite for tracking and looking at stuff. So, anyone else out there? Thank you, Zoth, for the question. Sweet. Okay, well, everything tonight was recorded. I will send the VOD to Raka and be able to get that hopefully uploaded for the YouTube. So that way, if anyone going forward wants to take a stab at being a captain and what that looks like, you at least have a decent repository and a place to start. Hoku, I don't know if you've got anything else that you want to conclude with or any final shout outs for stuff.
Okay, first I'd like to thank you.
Take a stab at being a captain and what that looks like. You at least have a decent repository and a place to start. Hoku, I don't know if you've got anything else that you want to conclude with or any final shout outs for stuff.
Okay, first I'd like to thank you and Eternally Blue for helping out tonight. That was incredibly helpful. And thanks for all who were watching Rock's live stream or who joined us in the Discord, or for those who are going to be watching the VOD at a later point. But before we go, since we do have two veteran captains with me here, I'm just going to do a couple of random questions for the two of you to answer. We'll start with Eternally Blue. What is your favorite thing about being a captain?
Oh boy, you didn't prep us for any of this. That's not fair. Honestly, I just like helping people. I guess is that a good cop out answer?
That's a very good cop-out answer. Rock, what about you? What's your favorite thing about being a captain?
It's being able to organize play. Like I've played Halo and done raiding and plenty of other MMOs and it's always better with friends. And so being someone that can organize and being the captain means at a bare minimum I get to pick what days we play. Because if I'm not there, I'm not the captain. So it's nice to be able to organize things around your own schedule at times, as well as like Blue said, we just want to help. Like I'd say, it's like I like helping people and being able to ensure that games happen because games are funner with friends, and you know, you play 1,000 Storm League games with somebody, it could be your friend. You never know.
And just to make life interesting, Rock, what is your least favorite thing as a captain?
I luckily haven't
One
have I luckily haven't had too many problems in our Roll One group, but um, I would say the, the scheduling conflicts can be hard because I understand from their perspective that they can't schedule those days, but it just becomes really hard to get the scheduling done, especially when it's East versus West Coast, and really the only compromise is, picking like a Saturday or Sunday where both teams effectively don't have to go to work the next day. That's rough. Also, just dealing with combative personalities. I've been lucky in not having to have to deal with that a lot in hero side for captaining, but I've had to deal with that a lot from whether it be WoW, WildStar, or Halo, where effectively you're trying to make it work with the teams you got, and people are just rude, and being able to, as a captain, state guys like this isn't working, or like, hey, we need to establish some ground rules because we didn't do a good job of doing that up front about how we will treat one another and how we will play and communicate with one another. And yeah, it ended up burning some bridges just because we didn't want to tolerate people screaming at one another. And it's like it's some people can play that way, and it's just, oh, that's just how I play, or that's just how I act, and having to be officially the moderator or the adult in the room and be like, guys, we can't do that. Like, that's not cool. That's hard.
And same question to Blue.
Yeah, I mean, pretty easy to piggyback off of Rock here. Just to say, scheduling is just a very blanket least favorite part of everything. Luckily, honestly, the last season in Heroic was really easy, and knock on wood, it was probably the best scheduling season I've ever had. Where everybody, I said, this is the day I want to play, and they're just like, okay. So that was really
Nice.
great. But yeah, and also just to kind of echo again what Rock was saying, and personality conflicts and stuff like that. I would say for the first up until very recently, I probably haven't been a very good captain because you try to put on blinders sometimes. I feel like as a captain and say like everything's going fine, everything's going well, this is fine, and until people start coming to you like, hey, I'm having issues here, I'm having issues there, and it's like, well, I wish we would have talked about this sooner. Um, one of Rock's points is just communication, and make sure you're talking to one another, make sure you guys are all on the same page. If you're having issues with some person, don't be afraid to say something to the captain, the assistant captain, until somebody you feel comfortable with. Because because the animosity will build and build into a point where you're gonna have a bad loss one night, and then maybe the whole team is gone. So if you're having issues with one another, please communicate. We're all adults. I mean, at this point, we're basically all just 30-year-olds playing a dead video game. So keep things in
Whoa, whoa,
perspective
whoa.
and
Whoa,
communicate.
Did you just assume my age?
I assumed
It's all
all of
good.
our ages. But yeah, that's all I got.
Well, again, thanks to both these gentlemen. Do keep an eye peeled for the bot. And once again, if you have any questions about anything Captain related, or if you have suggestions, wish list items, or things you would like the board to know, please feel free to DM me or any of the other moderating or board members. We'd be more than happy to listen to any issues you might be having or things that we could do better. And once again, the free agent combine is Wednesday night, 2 days from now. Please be there if you are looking for team members. Captains are always welcome to sit in as observers or sit in comms to feel out potential recruits. And other than that, we'll see you in the next.
Thanks.